Hello ladies and gentlemen, Fox King here again, and today I'm going to be talking about various combat mechanics that'll help you both mitigate the damage you take when fighting, as well as increasing certain aspects of your damage. Now, I'm not going to be telling you how to score more critical hits just by pressing the keys a certain way or something, but you'll see what I mean. Most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, though, is going to be defensive, and I'm going to cover a lot of different concepts, so hopefully this isn't information overload. And again, this is mostly for people who aren't familiar with what may be considered very basic combat maneuvers, but I think they're important, and if somebody doesn't tell you how to do them, then you're not going to know. So, the very first thing that I'm going to talk about, and I've cleared out this room. I'm going to be doing this tutorial in a dungeon rather than in the practice room like I intended, because you can't actually take damage in the practice room, and that's a problem for this. So, the first thing I want to talk to you about is the backstep. And the backstep is the very first skill that every single character has on top of their first two level 1 skills. So you enter the tutorial dungeon and bam, it's there on your taskbar or your skill bar right in this slot for every single character. And what this skill does is it does a slight little hop backwards just like that. So why is that important? Why do we care? Why can't we just be moving forward and then turn around and run away? Why do we have to have a special skill for it? And also, you may notice that I don't have the skill on my skill bar at all. I use the down C or down jump if you've changed your jump key, as I have command input. So I don't have to have it on my skill bar. I can just press the down jump and I'll do it. So the reason why you want to use backstep rather than just moving around like normal is because if you're fighting in this direction and I try to press the left arrow key, which I'm holding down right now, I won't go anywhere. So if suddenly you're in the middle of a fight and you see an enemy that's trying to attack you, you have to wait for the animation of the attack that you're doing to stop before the game lets you turn around. And then you have to double tap to begin the running animation so that you can hopefully cover the distance fast enough. However, if I'm attacking and I backstep, oh, look at that. I literally cancel the animation at whatever point it was. Now, I did that. I should have told you I was going to do that beforehand, so I'll do it again. It does not cancel the animation of actual skills, so if I do an upward slash, I can't do it until it's over. However, the basic attack animation can be cancelled with a backstep. So it gives you a much faster reflex, or assuming you have the reflex to use it immediately, it gives you a much faster escape than just using the arrow keys. Now, every time you do this, if you watch my skill bar, you'll see that my skills are being grayed out when I use it. That's because this technically counts as a jump. So this and this are just, different sizes of a jump. So anything that you can do in the middle of the air can be done in a backstep, and anything that you cannot do in the middle of the air cannot be done in a backstep. Now, that also means that if you get hit while backstepping, you will be knocked down almost immediately, even if the normal attack wouldn't actually knock you down if you're just standing. That can be useful, actually. Granted, I don't do this often. I don't know necessarily if a lot of people do. But that leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is quick rebound, which is an amazing skill that if you don't have it, you should. If you're not familiar with it, let me just open up the skills bar. Go away. And it's this skill right here. It's a common skill, so everyone can learn it. Required level 1, so you can get it immediately. It costs 10 SP, only 1 level. And what this beautiful little skill does, and I will go in here to demonstrate, is if I take damage and I fall down, come on, knock me down, and I press the jump button, I crouch down like that for up to 3 seconds. So what that means is that for those 3 seconds that I am on the ground, I will not take damage. So, here. I don't know if you attack fast enough. Ah, you missed. Bad fish. Making for a poor video. Attack me. No, he's not going to attack fast enough for it to matter. Let me just get over to the next room. Jump into some of the enemies. And they're attacking, and I'm taking no damage until I stand up, in which I have a brief period of time in which I can actually attack without being concerned about them hitting me the instant I stand up. So not only does it prevent you from taking damage while you're still on the ground, you get to stand up and take an action of your own before being hit again. And that, to just activate that skill, is just the jump key while you're grounded. You don't need to have it on your skill bar, same way as backstep, but it's easier to use than backstep because you don't have to worry about the directional key. It has a rather short cooldown in PvE. However, the cooldown is extended significantly in PvP because if you could do that every single time you were knocked down in PvP, it would make things unnecessarily long and difficult, especially for some classes that knock you down regularly. So just keep that in mind. Right, the next thing that I want to talk about is invincibility frames. That comes specifically from grabbing and a few other specific attacks that I don't want to get into because they're class specific and I may not necessarily know all of them because I haven't played every single class in the game. So, okay. You may notice I'm in a different dungeon now. The other one that I was in didn't give me any good examples of enemies that I could show you the rest of the stuff against, so we're moving here. Hopefully this will be a little bit better. So I'm at the boss room of Iron Scale now. So let's head in there. And we've got these enemies. Heck, I can spawn some more fish if I feel like it, just for more things to hit. And if I do this, that is a throw. And you know that things are a throw because when you do it, other enemies that try to attack you can't do damage to you. Also, you pick them up and you throw them, pretty straightforward stuff. So, throws are extremely important because of the fact that they give you invincibility frames when you do them. So, if I just run over here and I pick this guy up, and if he were to try to have hit me, he kind of ran into his own pole. I would be fine. I wouldn't get hit stunned. I wouldn't receive any status effects from it. I would not be knocked back. The way I like to look at it is you basically take yourself off the map. So, let me clear out. And also, you see when this guy does his little jumping spiral attack, he gets that red and yellow border. That is called super armor. Super armor makes it so that when you're hit, you can't be stunned. So if I attack him, you can see I can interrupt his animations. However, when he's doing that attack that gives him the super armor, and I hit him, he does not get stunned out of the attack. However, if he starts doing that, and I do a throw, I grab him, and he is no longer in super armor. Now, stop running into your pole, because there is one caveat to that, and that is that while most throws will work for this, some will not. So, the ones that I have, alright, it is short. I wish it lasted longer, but when I grab him, you will see that it says hold or super hold on him. So it says hold when I do that attack, and he's not in super armor. However, if I wait for him to be in super armor, it says super hold. The difference is that a hold occurs against an enemy who is not in super armor, and not all throws can be used against enemies that are in super armor. So, an example of this is a brawler's explosive hook attack. It is technically a throw. It will give you the invincibility frames that any other throw would, but if you use it against an enemy with super armor, you'll do the initial damage, but you will get no invincibility, and you will not be immune to damage. Or, that was redundant. Ignore that. You'll not be invincible or immune to damage. You will be able to be affected just as you normally would. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was, I'm just gonna eat these shots. Command inputs. Now, I talked a little bit about them before when I was saying, down C for backstep and, just C for quick rebound. But what you will see here, so if I open this up, I'm gonna do this in the middle of a boss fight. You see these directional keys plus Z and space and all that good stuff. That means I can use those button inputs rather than using the slots allocated down here on my skill bar in order to cast attacks. Now, you may remember at the beginning of the video I said I would tell you how to increase your damage. This is kind of where that comes in. Now, don't expect this to be, game-breaking damage increase or anything. It's not. And it comes strictly from cooldowns. But whenever you use command inputs, rather than using the buttons down here on your skill bars, you get an MP reduction and a cooldown reduction. Now, it's not a big number. It's often between 2 and 4%. But, hey, it's something. If something costs a lot of mana, it can help to use it as a command input, although mostly it's just used as a means of having access to more skills than your skill bar allows. So, I've set some of those things. You've probably seen me activating Thirst, which is how I like to clear out the birds when he summons them. So, I do this. That is not a skill that is on my skill bar. That is something that I have customized the command input to be, as, again, you can do by doing change command and, click this and it'll clear and you go forward space, or, no, forward space as it was, just because I don't want to change it. So you can adjust the command inputs of most attacks, unless they are situation specific, like quick rebound or backstep. You can't change anything that has jump in it, and you can't change anything that can only be done, like, when you're hit, or something like that. So, just showing you that I can use skills that are not on my skill bar just by pressing the skill 1 and skill 2 keys. Now, something about those that I'm going to point out, and I'm just going to finish off this boss before I continue talking because he's almost dead. But you can change what buttons the skill inputs are, but it will always read as Z, C, and space. So, now I can come here, hotkeys, and when you come down to skills, where are they? Here we go, skill and skill 2, right shift and right control. That's where I like to keep mine. You can change this to whatever you want. Now, skill is always going to be read as Z, and skill 2 is always going to be read as space. So if I come here and go to change command, you'll see like back forward Z. That would be back forward right shift for me. And, derange forward space, that's forward right control. Those words will not change in here, so you need to remember which ones are skill 1 and skill 2, because it won't reflect your current keyboard assignments. So, other than that, I'm pretty sure I've covered everything I wanted to talk about here. I hope you learned something. Again, like, comment, subscribe if you did, and feel free to also let me know about things that you have questions about so I can make more of these videos and explain, you know, anything that you have questions about because that's what I'm here for. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.